Hi everyone, this is Module 10, helping students to realize their learning norms. When I watched a YouTube video, I learned about different student learning norms, and there were 10 expectations, and they are relationships, relevance, timing, play, practice, choice, authenticity, challenge, and application. First one, how to help students build relationships. This year at Livingston High School, where I work, we started a new initiative called Community. Community is really a class period that is dedicated for teachers, myself, and the other counselors, administrators, and students, for all of us to kind of come together so we can build relationships with one another. So we are actually meeting with students and in groups. I'm actually paired with a specific teacher, and each period one is that student's community. So we meet with the students in groups, we do group activities, and during these meetings we provide proactive support to help students kind of navigate challenges of everyday life that they face, whether it's in school or outside of school. So this new initiative is really a great way to build relationships with all students and to kind of show them that we are interested in their lives outside of school. Number 2, how to help students see and understand the relevance of their learning. It's important to show students, what they are learning is relevant to real life careers and situation. So I will help my students to understand why the curriculum that was developed is important for their learning development, and I will also help them to connect the dots, help them to make those connections of what they are learning to real life situation, and really try to incorporate some fun things into what I'm teaching them as well. How to help students see and understand that they can learn at their own pace really is to, helping my students to develop whatever skills that is best for them. Help them to understand their learning styles. How do they learn best? Teach them about their learning style will allow them to understand how they learn best. This skill will be helpful when they are working at their own pace. So it's important to kind of recognize that not every student will be able to work at their own pace. So in this case, I will teach my students about time management, and the importance of managing their time effectively. And really my expectation is really just for my students to just try their best. How to help students see and understand that they don't always have to learn things in the same sequence. So at Livingston High School, we provide a lot of different pathways for students to choose from. So we have pathways such as a science research pathway, visual performing arts, humanities, and technical graphic and communication. So students really have a lot of choices. They have a lot of things to choose from. So it's important, for them to understand that all students have different interests and goals, and they all learn differently. So I will introduce my students to, different learning style inventory or some interest style inventory, so they can take these assessments and kind of determine what specific goals, interests, or career field that they're interested in. And I will teach them the importance of choosing their own path. How to help students understand how to play, explore, and make mistakes. Since my district is a really high performing district, students are always feeling that academic pressure, and the pressure most of the time comes from home, and it comes from themselves. Teacher really hardly put pressure on students, but because they're so competitive, they really put pressure on themselves. And as a counselor, I am always speaking with my students about finding balance, making sure that they are balancing their academics with their extracurricular activities, sports, and also their personal life. So just really talk to them about having fun, like do something fun for yourself. And it's okay to make mistakes as long as you learn from them. How to help students understand the importance of practicing the skills that they learn. Practice makes perfect, as easy as that. So therefore, I will always make sure that my students understand the importance of practicing in order to sustain the skills that they have learned. I will also provide my students with opportunities to apply the skills that they have learned. How to help students understand that they can make choices. We all have choices. We always have choices. So I will provide my students with opportunity to make choices, help them to understand that they always have choices, help them to understand that they are in charge of their learning and their education. A good example is right now I'm working with my seniors who are applying to college, and then we are talking about the different factors that the college admissions are looking for in the application. And I really stress to them that the college essay is a really important piece, of their application, because it is a piece that they are in charge of. They are in charge of what they want the college rep to see, what they want the college rep to read about them as students. So they really are in charge of that piece. So as a counselor and a future building leader, I will be there to guide my students and to help them to create goals for the future so they can make good decisions. Encourage, teachers to provide students with more choices in the classroom and give students opportunities to reflect on those choices. How to help students build authentic about their learning. I will encourage my students to go out in the community and display the work, and also be proud of it, making sure that the community recognize and value the work that students do. Encourage students to get more involved in the community. Also, go out there and volunteer. By connecting my students with the community will bring more values to their work. Creating partnerships, within the community, and encourage them to be involved and making the learning as authentic as possible. How to help students understand the importance of challenges and being challenged. Every student will be challenged differently. I think that it's important to encourage students to take on challenges. However, we don't want those challenges to become, an academic, pressure or burden for our students. So whenever I talk to my students about challenge and, challenges and challenging themselves, I always make sure to talk about finding balance in their life in school, outside of school. Also, challenging themselves is not just about completing assignments. We want to make sure that students are being challenged in a meaningful way and not a stressful kind of way. How to help students apply what they learn in real world settings. I will help my students to make connections of what is being learned in the classroom and real life experiences. Help them to understand that some of those algebra classes, geometry classes that they're currently taking will be useful if they, as an accountant, for example, if they go and become an accountant, they will need math. So these courses are useful in their future jobs and careers. Help them to be, prepared for college and the workforce, and help my students to understand how they can learn best so that I can continue to make those connections with them. Standard correlation. This assignment certainly correlates with the standard. It is extremely important to learn and understand the different steps that are necessary to ensure the success of our students. When working with my current students, I always try to show them the importance of, being in charge of their education, owning that education. So as educators, we have to incorporate these learning norms into our curriculum. Relevant. This assignment is extremely relevant to my current learning as a current school counselor and future building leader. It certainly improved my understanding of learning norms and how to integrate those norms into my daily practice. And as educators, it is our job to make sure that all students are feeling supported and that they can achieve success. In some reflection after completing this assignment, I am definitely feeling much more prepared and confident to support my staff and to help them develop different ways to incorporate these norms into the classroom. The goal is really to make sure that students are prepared to face the real world. So we want them to successfully apply what they learn in the classroom to real life situations. So let's work collaboratively together as educators to promote these norms and encourage our students to develop the knowledge, skills, and confidence that they need in order to make good life choices. And that is the end of my presentation. Thank you so much for watching and for listening. I will see you on the next presentation.